Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment as the New Orleans Saints defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-28 in what was a fantastic game. And honestly, I know everyone loved that big Rams versus Chiefs 54-51 fantastic game that we had earlier this year. I love this type of game where there's a good amount of offense, but there's some defense too. There's some huge defensive stops, some huge turnovers, and we have a thrilling finish, and that is what we had today as the New Orleans Saints help out my Tennessee Titans and defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we're going to focus on the Saints and Steelers today. It is a Saints and Steelers recap, and I'll make my Titans versus Colts preview this Wednesday. We're going to talk about that matchup. Huge matchup, winner gets in. But for the New Orleans Saints and the Pittsburgh Steelers, this was a huge contest. The Saints looking to secure the #1 seed in the NFC, of which they did, and the Steelers looking to remain in terms of being on top of the AFC North and ultimately failing. And the Steelers, man, I mean, obviously you must feel bad because you lost today. You were able to beat the Patriots last week. You're hoping to use that momentum and coming to New Orleans, and you did, and you had a hell of a performance today, but you came up just short, and just a couple of key plays at the end of the game really screwing you over. First of all, you have to look at when the Saints were down, when the Saints were trailing, and you guys elected to go with the fake punt on the 4th and 5, handing off to Roosevelt Nix, your fullback. A bad decision to me by Mike Tomlin. The Steelers defense had success over the past number of drives before that drive in terms of stopping the Saints. They were able to stop the Saints from getting the go-ahead touchdown on the previous drive, from even moving the ball in the drive before that. They had pretty much stopped the Saints after the Saints started the third quarter hot with a touchdown going up 24-14. I thought Mike Tomlin should have had faith in his defense, punted the ball down the field with 4 minutes left, and I think the Steelers defense might have stopped the New Orleans Saints from going all the way down the field, probably 80-70 yards at least, and getting the touchdown. But instead, Mike Tomlin gave them half the field, and then there was also that key 4th down, which the Saints converted due to a penalty flag. I think that penalty was deservedly thrown. They didn't show a great angle on CBS's replay, so we didn't get a great look at it, but from what I saw in terms of the broadcast, it does look like Joe Hayden interfered with Michael Thomas, and that was a deserved pass interference, so they threw that penalty. The Saints go down to the 1-yard line, and Michael Thomas is able to get the go-ahead touchdown with 1:25 left. The Steelers get the ball at the end of the game. Going down the field, they convert a 4th and 15. Antonio Brown on the sideline, keep going, and then ultimately Juju SmithSchuster fumbles the ball, and what a rake. What a strip by Sheldon Rankins. This was fantastic. Defensive tackle out of Louisville, Sheldon Rankins, so I want to say was drafted either 2015 or 2016. This guy is coming into his own. This guy is under Juju SmithSchuster, right? He's dragging him with, I want to say, his left hand, and then he pops the ball out with his right hand. This is fantastic, keeping Juju SmithSchuster off the ground. He kept him off the ground, punching the ball out and saving this game for the New Orleans Saints, because the Steelers would have been in field goal range, at least on the outskirts of it, and look to probably make the game time field goal. Although who knows with Chris Boswell right now, the Steelers kicker, he's been awful this season. But you know, presumably making the game time field goal and then heading to overtime. Rankin saves the game. Juju SmithSchuster unfortunately loses the game. And look, Juju SmithSchuster, I love Juju SmithSchuster. I was tweeting about this during the game. I'm a huge Juju fan. Okay, I'm gonna stop saying SmithSchuster because it's hard to say his whole name. I'm a huge Juju fan. This guy's going to have over 1,400 receiving yards this year as the #2 option to Antonio Brown. And yes, I understand he's playing with Antonio Brown, and that's able to free him to do a lot more things. But people, he's the best #2 wide receiver in the NFL by a wide margin. I think we're looking at a Chris Carter and Randy Moss level duo here. I mean, honestly, first of all, we already know Antonio Brown is one of the best wide receivers of this generation. Okay, so comparing him to Chris Carter or Randy Moss even is really not that far out. Antonio Brown does not have the long extended success that Randy Moss and Chris Carter has had up to this point, but in terms of having individual seasons, having talent, yeah, he's up there, Randy Moss and Chris Carter. Juju SmithSchuster, we're finding that out, but first of all, he's going to have 1,400 yards this season in his second season. I like the way he's trending. Okay, so I love Juju. I think he would be a #1 option for so many teams in this league. Almost every team in the league except for this team, the Falcons, maybe the Chiefs, but I don't know. He might be better than Tyreek Hill. I don't know. If he was playing with Patrick Mahomes, we'd see. I'm a huge Juju fan, but obviously this is a huge fumble for him. He'll learn, he'll grow, he'll come back even fiercer next season and even next game. And we've seen it without Antonio Brown last year against Cleveland Browns. Albeit the Cleveland Browns, he had 9 receptions for 162 yards. I'm a fan of Juju SmithSchuster. Okay, this guy is legit. And he's going to continue to progress. But the problem with the Steelers offense is that's all you got. You got Brown and you got Schuster, and that's a great 1-2 punch. But James Washington, who you drafted in the 2nd round this year, this guy's not doing anything. And you saw Ben Roethlisberger targeting this guy, trying to get the ball to this guy when they were doubling up Juju and Antonio Brown, and this guy cannot make plays for the football team, cannot get open consistently, and Roethlisberger could not find him, and ultimately it hurt the Steelers when they were trying to go down the field and win the game, and it hurt them throughout the game, and it's hurt them this season. This is why Roethlisberger throws these interceptions. This is why they're not able to consistently move the football. That combined with their running back situation. Today, Jalen Samuels did okay. He averaged 4.4 yards per carry, but then Stephen Ridley comes in and he gets a fumble, and Jalen Samuels is just Jalen Samuels, right? And James Conner has had a good year, but he's only James Conner, right? They need a 3rd option out there running around, making plays in the receiving game. Vance McDonald and Jesse James, yes, they can occasionally do stuff, but they're not that consistent either. This team needs the #3 option. They need to go out in free agency to me and find that guy. I don't think you need a rookie. Go get a veteran that can come in here and catch passes consistently to take this offense to the next level. And then defensively, they need to get a new cornerback in. Joe Hayden is just not good enough. I mean, he was struggling all night against Michael Thomas today. It actually got pretty absurd by the end of the game. You got one good season out of him last year. This year, he struggled. It's time to find a new cornerback in Pittsburgh. And really, that's all I have to say about that. Defensively, TJ Watt's a beast. Okay, so I still love TJ Watt, but you guys also need an inside linebacker. Safeties aren't great, but Sean Davis looks to be improving. I like the way Sean Davis is improving on the football field, so you have something to like on that side of the football field. For the New Orleans Saints, okay, so you got the victory here, and I think you should feel lukewarm about this victory. It was a good victory, right? The Steelers are a formidable force, and we're able to beat them. Are you guys looking like the best team in the league? I would probably say yes, but that's because no one in the league is looking really good right now. I think the Chiefs are looking better than you guys, but that's not saying much, as the Chiefs lost just like last week or 2 weeks ago to the LA Chargers, and they may lose tomorrow to the Seattle Seahawks. So, I mean, who knows right now in the NFL? No one knows who's going to win the Super Bowl. No one knows. The Chicago Bears did not look great today. I don't think the Bears can go to New Orleans and beat you guys. I don't buy that. So right now, like I said in my Mason's predictions, I have the Saints winning the Super Bowl. But I have to see what's going to happen. We got to take it game by game this year more than most, because I think any team that makes the playoff this year, except for probably the 5th and 6th seed in the NFC, I don't think they really have a shot. Any team outside of that, I think could win the Super Bowl this year. I think the Colts are a threat. I think, I'm biased here, I think the Titans are a threat. The Ravens are a threat. The Chargers are a threat. The Texans are a threat. The Patriots. The Steelers, if they end up making, which probably not looking like right now. I think everyone is a threat in the AFC. In the NFC, obviously the Saints, the Rams, the Bears, and even the Cowboys are a threat. I don't think they're going to win, but they're a threat to me. So it's just interesting. It's just fascinating. I'm betting on the Saints right now, but we got to take it game by game. And I don't know why the Saints refuse to run the football in this game more. I mean, you're having a duo here of Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. Kamara only had 7 carries for 23 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns. And he had that 8-yard rushing touchdown. Dude, no one can stop this guy. His balance is insane. It's like he has some sort of gravitational pull. This guy must have the strongest core ever. There's just people that bounce off him. He's able to stay upright and just walk into the end zone. Why did he only get 7 carries today? That didn't make much sense to me. And Mark Ingram with only 11. I thought they should have ran the ball more, but ultimately they won the game, so I won't complain too much. But when you go to the playoffs, do not be afraid to run the football with these guys. This is the best running back duo in the league. Use them, okay? I mean, please, Alvin Kamara, he's still not getting paid. Use him while you can. Use him while he's on this rookie deal, please. Michael Thomas is an absolute beast. I mean, I still can't believe this guy went in the 2nd round. of the 2016 NFL draft. It pains me to this day why my team didn't take him. He had 11 catches today on 13 targets. You know, this is ridiculous. And you saw his game-winning touchdown. It just stuck to his chest. It stuck to his arm. Man, this guy's talented. Keith Kirkwood, man, he's gonna have to be more consistent. He had a huge drop on that last drive by the Saints. He can't do that come playoff time. Ted Ginn had 5 catches today, but he and Breeze aren't always on the same page either. I need to see better play from him consistently, but again, because the NFC is going to go through New Orleans, I like New Orleans in New Orleans, right? Their defense today did concern me. Marcus Lattimore was struggling against Antonio Brown. Now, I understand it's Antonio Brown, right? Everyone struggles against Antonio Brown, but man, he was really struggling. I've never seen Marcus Lattimore struggle this much this far in my life. I've never seen Lattimore struggle this much in my life, so that was concerning. He needs to improve come playoff time, and I think that he will. I think he was just Antonio Brown, and you should not face a talented receiver like this come the playoffs. I mean, they're just not, no one's as good as Antonio Brown. He's number 1. So there's no Julio Jones or no Mike Evans. No. Now you might have to face Brandon Cooks or Robert Woods, right? So we're going to look out for those guys, but there's no more Antonio Brown, so you should be fine in terms of that. Look out though against Kansas City Chiefs. Tyreek Hill, if you face him in the Super Bowl, do look out for him. Outside of that, Alex Anzalone, he was struggling today, so I want to see improved play from him. Also, against Sheldon Rankins, I mean, that was a great game for him, especially the game-winning forced fumble, so I love that. I like the way Von Bell is playing. I think Eli Apple's actually doing a decent job in the slot right now, and they're actually moving around as well in terms of the position that he's playing. PJ Williams is struggling as well. I mean, Juju and Antonio Brown are just killing you guys, and I know they're the best duo wide receiver duo in the league. I mean, I'm saying I'm still comparing them to Chris Carter and Randy Moss for God's sake, but it was just too much. I mean, you guys could have easily lost this game today. It was just too much. You need to get better play defensively if you want to win the Super Bowl this year. And again, because no one's looking great right now, no one's looking so superior, it's not a huge problem, but the LA Rams, if they get hot again, it concerns me. Let's get better play defensively. Ultimately, the New Orleans Saints win 31-28. Drew Brees showed up when he had to. Michael Thomas showed up when he had to. Sheldon Rankins showed up when he had to. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, man, I think the Steelers are going to miss the playoffs, and this was a team that I had going to the Super Bowl this season, but I just do not see the Baltimore Ravens losing to the Cleveland Browns next week. However, I will tell you this. I think there's a 30% chance that they do. I give you a 30% chance that the Cleveland Browns will go to Baltimore, and I believe it's in Baltimore, correct me if I'm wrong, but they will go to Baltimore and they will defeat the Baltimore Ravens. I'll give you 30%. I will give that to you, okay? So if you can take care of the Bengals next week, and I believe that's in Pittsburgh, let's go ahead and check the schedule now, then you have a shot. I'm not betting on it. I think the Ravens get it done. I think it'll be close, but I think ultimately the Ravens get it done and the Steelers miss the playoffs. Now, if you miss the playoffs, what should you do? Should you make any changes? Is it time to move on from Mike Tomlin? I don't buy that. I just think you need to head into next season with a running back that you actually believe in, and it could be James Conner. I'm fine with that. And you need to find a third weapon offensively and draft a cornerback or two, honestly, and I think the Steelers will be fine. Also an inside linebacker, and I think the Steelers will be fine and right back to the playoffs. It was just time for you guys to miss the playoffs, right? Every 3 years, 3-4 years, you're going to miss the playoffs, and I think that's the cycle that we're on. I don't think there's any reason to overreact. I know a lot of Steelers fans are over Mike Tomlin at this point. I mean, who do you really believe in out there that's better than Mike Tomlin? I mean, do you want to go get Mike McCarthy, Jim Caldwell? I mean, who are you going to get that you're just so confident if we bring this guy in, we're going to be good again, or we're going to make the Super Bowl, we're going to win the Super Bowl? I just don't see that right now, so I wouldn't do it. So yeah, week 17, we do have Cleveland at Baltimore. Again, I'll give you 30%. I'll give you 30% because the Browns are playing well right now. Okay, they're playing well. Baker Mayfield's still on that rock. I'll give you 30%. But the Ravens defense, it is swarming right now. I think they're going to give the Browns way too many fits, especially in Baltimore. When Baltimore knows win and they win the AFC North, I think that's way too costly for them. I think they get it done. And then, yes, the Pittsburgh Steelers do host the Cincinnati Bengals. I do expect you guys to win that game, but even that, I would say there's a 90% chance. So there's a 10% chance the Bengals could upset you. So make sure that 90% comes to fruition and then hope for that 30% in terms of the Cleveland Browns. For the New Orleans Saints, congratulations. You now win the NFC in terms of #1 seed. Now, rest your starters next week. You guys are hosting the Carolina Panthers. You can lose that game, who cares? Although I think even if you rest your starters, you guys could probably still win. All right, Teddy Bridgewater should be ready to go. You can even play Taysom Hill if you really want to. I mean, who cares? And you guys still might win, right? But I want everyone resting. I want Drew Brees resting. I want Kamara resting. I want Ingram resting. I want Michael Thomas. Dear God, please bench Michael Thomas because you do not want him going down right now. We do not want to rely on Keith Kirkwood to be our #1 wide receiver, at least #2. Ted Ginn being #1. We do not want that. Okay, so please, dear God, bench Michael Thomas, bench Marcus Lattimore, and even more players if you have to. There you go. New Orleans Saints defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers and allow my Tennessee Titans to compete with the Indianapolis Colts for the 6th seed next week, or even the 4th seed if the Texans lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Thank you, Drew Brees. Until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.